really don't want to be that super cliche YouTuber who starts out every video with, "Hey guys, welcome back," but honestly I cannot think of a better intro right now, so I guess just deal with it. Thanksgiving is in like 3 days, and it's crazy to think that November is almost over, but it's time to set up my December plan with me. I was debating what theme to do because, like every other person who bullet journals, it's always the choice between winter or Christmas, but a couple days ago I went and saw Cirque du Soleil's show Alegria, which if you don't know what that is, definitely Google it because they are amazing. And I was so inspired by the design, along with of course like the trapeze and cool things that they did in the show, that I wanted to do a Cirque du Soleil / masquerade ball / feathers theme for December. Before we get too far into the setup, if you haven't already, don't forget to go down and hit that subscribe button down below. I post all sorts of bullet journal content, and coming up this month I have a lot of cool Christmas and bullet journal stuff coming, which I'll talk about a little later, so if you want to see more of that, don't forget to go down and subscribe. Starting out this cover page, I of course have everything very thickly penciled in because I don't know what it means to draw light before you get it right, like my art teacher used to tell me all the time. So you could probably see exactly what this design was before I even inked it in, but I wanted to clear up all of the pencil lines with a tiny little fine liner that will be linked below with all of my other stationery. I've been using a lot of warmer color schemes in my bullet journal recently, which you've probably noticed. October, September, and November all had a lot of yellows and maroons and reds, and I really enjoy that color palette, and especially with my new Dark Academia studio, which by the way, if you haven't seen that video where I transformed my studio, I will link it in the card and the description box below. But I felt like December is kind of obviously a winter month, which makes you think of cool colors, and also the show that I watched, Alegria, had a lot of periwinkle and silvers in it, so I tried to bring that into this spread. The color scheme ended up being a little weird, especially on the cover page, because of all the skin tones and the gold pants that the male trapeze artist is wearing, but I just based it off of a picture that's like here on the screen, so I guess you can say it's realistic even if it doesn't look that aesthetic. Moving on to the calendar page, this is actually my favorite spread in the entire setup so far, which is probably crazy because I usually hate the calendar spreads, but I am bringing back habit trackers. If you've been a subscriber for a while now, you would know that I have actually ditched trackers and I haven't used them in my bullet journal since like July of 2021, so at least 6 months ago, right? Yeah, math is hard. Anyways, but I really wanted to bring it back this month because I feel like there are a lot of things in my life that I would benefit from tracking from. I just don't want to feel the stress of having to exercise every day, and if I don't and my habit tracker is not filled in, then it makes me feel unmotivated, unproductive. It's really a bad cycle. But I watched a video by Claudia Joseph when she talked about stress-free habit tracking, and it was really informative for me. She talked about 1, basing your habits off of goals so that any goals you set can be easily achieved by checking off things in your habit trackers, and 2, not necessarily setting each tracker for an entire month. For an example, a goal I have of mine is to have more free time and more reading this month because I've been super busy lately, and so the 2 trackers near the top that say reading and break days, those are directly inspired from that goal I have, and hopefully by checking off these trackers I can achieve those goals. But another thing is they're only like 5 boxes, and so I don't have to read every day for me to feel accomplished. I only have to read for 5 days of the month, and I can say that I checked off a goal, or at least I'm closer to it, if that makes sense. This video is moving way too fast and I'm already on the next spread, but if you have any more questions about my habit tracking system, definitely mention them down below. I hope this works for me, and I really love how the spread turned out, so at least it's aesthetically pleasing if nothing else. Obviously December is the month with Christmas in it, so I had to do a quick gift tracking spread. This is really nothing fancy, it's just a huge chart that has the person, the gift, whether it's bought, whether I have a card for them, whether it's wrapped, and whether it's gifted, just to track all the gifts I am going to give to my friends and family members this Christmas season. This chart's literally no different than my December plan with me from last year, but it worked, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. While I'm finishing up the quote page on the right, which by the way is a song lyric from the show Alegria, and I don't really know what it means, but it sounds pretty, so I put it in my spread. And I also forgot an A, which I had to add in later. Like after it says there's love in me raging, a joyous magical feeling, but whatever, just pretend that it's there. I did want to talk about real quick the new Instagram account that I started for bullet journaling. It'll be linked down below along with all my other socials, but if you want to see more of my bullet journal content and behind the scenes stuff and finished pictures of my spreads, you can go check out my Instagram called The Mingo Studio. Since this is a Christmas spread, I thought I'd talk for a second about the Christmas content I have coming up in the next couple weeks. I was actually having such a hard time planning out my December video content because I have a lot of different ideas, but with new bullet journal setups and flip throughs and all that coming up, it's hard to squeeze in Christmas stuff. So I wanted to make an advent calendar for myself and also possibly do Christmas pen paling, but I don't know where to fit those in during the week, so I might do another YouTube or Instagram live to make the pen pal or the advent calendar. So if you're interested in anything like that, just comment down below and I can hopefully plan one of those during winter break. Okay, and that's it for that spread. So moving along to the last spread of this setup, which is my weekly spread for the first 5 days of December. This is kind of weird, but I really love how this spread turned out, and it's not even close to what I would usually make for a weekly spread layout. Of course, after the 5 boxes where I put my main to-dos, I decided to add a weekly journal on the right and a rate the week on the bottom left corner. Usually when I have extra space, I'll add things like a quote or some scrapbooking or a miniature playlist or even like a notes section, but with my app Notion that I use for master to-dos and honestly the lack of new music I've been listening to recently, I wanted to put something else in the 2 corners. I've been thinking a lot recently about journaling more often and like gratitude journals and stuff, and I used to use gratitude trackers, but I feel like it's much better to do weekly journals because then I can like thoroughly explain things I'm grateful for or just that I noticed during the week, and I don't have to squish it into like 3 words in 1 sentence on a tracker, if that makes sense. Also, journaling is apparently good for just mental health in general, so I've been trying to do it more recently and I thought I would add it into this weekly spread. Now, the Rate the Week section has 4 different compartments. There's productivity, lack of stress, inspiration, and happiness/joy. I got this idea from Journal Away, who is an amazing creator. Her art is so beautiful, and I'm really hoping that Rating the Week for the entire month of December will help me just kind of gauge how stressed I was, how productive I was, and that sort of thing for this month, which is technically supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, so hopefully my levels of stress are relatively low. So the last thing I wanted to do in this setup was add in some gel pen details. I found these 2 old gel pens, one silver and one gold, that are metallic, and of course my white gel pen for the highlights. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but I added the silver and gold on the different parts of the drawings that I think would be metallic, and if the light shines on it in a certain way, you can see it sparkle, which I think is really pretty. Again, this is more for my benefit and not yours because you can't see it, but I promise you it's there and it looks cool. Also, I was dumb and forgot to label the calendar dates, so I did that. Just pretend that I did it when I was supposed to a couple minutes ago. As I'm finishing up the setup, I did want to ask you guys what content you want to see from me in the next couple months. As the year is coming to an end, I'm going to start planning some New Year's content and of course Christmas content, all that crazy stuff with my new bullet journal. But if you want to see some possibly Dark Academia vlogs from me, if you want to see journal with me's, pen pals, I don't really know what you guys enjoy watching, so just drop anything that you want to see more from me down below and I'll definitely take that in consideration when content planning. Anyway, that is it for my setup. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below your December bullet journal setup if you also bullet journal. I'm always interested in hearing what you're creating. And yeah, the video is literally done, so I should probably shut up. Next week starts end of the year content with a bullet journal flip through, so if you want to see more bullet journal content from me, definitely hit that subscribe button. And yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to go. Happy holidays, and I'll see you guys later. Toodles!